We start with Sharon, who asks about the difference between metaphor and simile. So I get asked this quite a lot. So we're looking at, I suppose, let's start with what do you do right at the beginning. You do literal language and metaphorical or figurative language. So Sharon, the first thing is, can you tell the difference between literal and figurative? So if you say, this is blue, then I'm looking at the color behind this. This is blue. What does it mean? It's blue. It's what we call in English blue, right? So if you say, I am blue, it could be literal. It could be that you have a lack of oxygen and you've turned blue. You go blue around the lips and all of that. Or you could mean, I am depressed and unhappy. So idiomatic English is colloquial, but it is also figurative, and it is colloquial. So be careful about using it in a situation where it's inappropriate. So if we move from that to kind of big categories of metaphorical language, and I know I've done this before, but we might as well talk about it again. If you imagine that this is a big category called metaphorical language, and specifically figures of speech that use metaphor in some way, I usually put metaphor at the top like that. And then I say, okay, so under metaphor, we get specific figures of speech. Obviously, we're going to get what we teach you in school as a metaphor. Right, now there are others, like metonymy, but let's just leave it as those four. So what are they? They are uses of metaphorical language where what you are talking about, let's call it X, is being described by using Y. So I can say to you, the trees are like something. The trees are like, and then I want here to give a detail, to give a description. So you've never seen these trees that I'm talking about, you've never seen them, and I want you to be able to see them. So I give you an image, a picture in words that gives you detail and description and allows you then to imagine the trees that I'm talking about. So here I'm thinking about a poem by Robert Frost. He describes willow trees. And willow trees look like that, and they usually grow alongside water, or they've got roots that will get down to the water table. So in a very famous image, Frost says that the willow trees look like girls who have thrown their hair forward. So if this is the girl's face, her hair usually hangs this way. And he says the willow trees look like girls who've thrown their hair forward to dry in the sun, like that. So can we imagine girls with long hair throwing their hair forward over their heads? Yes, we can see that. So now we can see the branches of the willow tree hanging like hair, loose and free-flowing and in the wind and shining. When the light shines on the hair will glisten and glitter and look radiant. And so the light shines also on these branches and these leaves. So Sharon, in a way, what's the difference between a metaphor and a simile? Well, the difference is you must be able to recognize both of them. That's, I think, the important thing. If we say a symbol, in pictures, a heart symbolizes love. If you read a text, usually the author creates the symbolism. So here I'm thinking of a play like Hamlet, because I've been talking about trees. We can imagine a garden. Right. What should a garden be like? Well, there should be some kind of order. I long for a herb garden. I don't know if you've seen pictures of Elizabethan herb gardens and knot gardens. They're gorgeously patterned and beautiful. Anyway, so you want some kind of order. You want some kind of harmony. If you are going to have my herb garden, let's say you have a circle and you have your stepping stones dividing up the circle. So let's say I have mint here and sage over here and thyme here and parsley over here. And then I've got little paths and I can walk along the path and I can cut obviously from this side as well so that I can get at my herbs. So you want order and harmony. You want to weed your garden, so the weeds removed from your garden so that the plants that you want to grow can grow. So we think of a garden as a symbol of order and harmony and pleasantness, maybe tranquility, peacefulness, peace, something like that. But if we're looking at Hamlet, we're told that Denmark is an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Now, if something grows to seed, okay, so I try to grow lettuces. Oh, I can't draw my lettuce leaves. So I'm trying to grow lettuces, but you know, the minute that central part grows and then it's now growing to seed, you know you've lost it. Your lettuces are finished for the year. So it grows to seed. The seeds are developing, which is lovely, but the rest of the plants are going to be lost. So it might be fine if you want self-seeding things, but if they don't self-seed, your garden's going to be a disaster. So it's an unweeded garden. So this is Denmark. So Sharon, if I say Denmark is an unweeded garden, I'm describing Denmark as an unweeded garden. So I was having a debate with somebody where they were saying, so a metaphor is a comparison. You know, we use the word comparison when we're discussing metaphor, but technically, you're not saying that Denmark is like an unweeded garden. You're saying it is an unweeded garden. So technically, a metaphor is when you say that one thing is something else, not is like it or is compared to it. But yes, I get it. We still use the word comparison. So Denmark is being described as an unweeded garden, suggesting it's everything the opposite of what we wanted over here, of order and harmony. It's therefore a place of disorder and a lack of harmony, and it's full of weeds. So there is some idea of chaos, and obviously we're going to get to the word corruption. So Denmark becomes a symbol, but it's also a metaphor. So do you see, Sharon, it's not so much in what way these things are different from each other. They all form something to do with metaphor. So personification, when I say Denmark is an unweeded garden, am I personifying Denmark? No, because a garden isn't a person. So personification is a specific kind of metaphor where you turn whatever it is that you are using as your description. So you're describing X, your Y, you're using as a person. But if it's an animal, then I would call it a metaphor. So yes, Sharon, I get your point. If you say, the question says I must identify the figure of speech, and if I say simile and it's a metaphor, I'm going to get it wrong. Yes, that is true. And if you say metaphor and it's personification, or you say often it's personification and people, it's not personification, it's metaphor. And the one I've talked about before is the milk of human kindness, and people say that's personification. No. we do not describe human kindness as a person. We're describing human kindness as milk. Milk's not a person. So, yes, Sharon, it matters that you get it accurately. But remember, if you're doing a discussion, then your discussion will get you marks even if you didn't get whether it's metaphor, simile, symbol, or personification. Are you with me? So I'd like to know a little bit more about what's causing the problem. And then just picking up, I picked up Voice of the Land, the foul poetry book, and just opened it to see if I could find something this evening to help you. So I found everything has changed except graves. And I am on line 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We're told that there's a playground, right? And he says that in the corner of the playground where he had a fight with a friend, he says that corner is scarfed with wattle. Right, so the first thing is, do we know what wattle is? Wattles are kinds of trees. So start with a scarf. So we put the scarf around the neck usually. I know we can also wear a scarf on the head, but let's think of this one around the neck. So if he says the ground and the corner of the playground are scarfed with wattle, so then what he's got is he's got wattle trees growing around the playground. That's what he's got, suggesting that they are growing around that area the way you would put a scarf around somebody's neck. So here are all my trees growing. And there's a sense that they are forming like a barrier because they're growing without any kind of control. So Sharon, give me an idea. Where's the problem? What are you discussing? Are you finding it difficult to see the difference? A simile is marked by some kind of word that introduces the simile. The three most common are like and as and than. So these can introduce a simile. So you're looking for some kind of introductory word. People seem to forget about than, I don't know why, and just talk about like and as. There are other words. If you're interested, look on the net. Just put in a search for words that introduce similes, and you'll find that there are others. So don't forget than. If I said it's thicker than a scarf, here's my scarf, thicker than a scarf, denser than any scarf, then I am still using a simile because I'm using an introductory word. Just be careful of like. I have seen people say things like, he likes ice cream, and they see like, and they say, there's a simile. No, this is a finite verb. And the other place I've seen people say, there's a simile. He is like his mother. So I've seen people say, well, that's comparing. It's comparing him there and his mother. Yes, but if I say the trees are like a scarf, you need to see that trees and a scarf are very different things. I'm getting a picture of a scarf in order to describe something about the tree. So I'm saying to you, can you see a scarf in your mind? Yeah, I can see a scarf, okay? I'm seeing a sort of creamy one. Maybe you're seeing black and red. We're seeing a scarf, and we're seeing it wrapped around the neck. Lovely. Maybe with little bits flapping. Now can we see the trees? Yes, they're wrapped around with maybe a few trees growing at the edges. But if I say he's like his mother, these are not completely different things. I mean, if he's come from his mother and he's a natural child of his mother, then, there's DNA. So with the simile, it's got to be very different. So be careful. Be careful of when it's a verb, and be careful of when it's he's like his mother, he's like his father, you're just like your father. they're not different. Do you understand? I'm saying whatever irritates me in your father is irritating me in you. So I need, when my mother's angry, she's like a little yappy dog. Then yes, those things are different. And you can imagine a little yappy dog. You know what they like? They're always so irritable. Yeah, and then you can see this mother, and she sort of, the face is pinched, and the little mouth. So you can describe it.